Welcome back to Everything Whiskey. I'm Callum.
And I'm Sam.
Today we're having a look at the Hakushu.
Alrighty, so Hakushu, this is the Distiller's Reserve, the non-age statement version. We just did the Yamazaki, now we're going to the Hakushu. Basically, we're kind of like going through a lot of the ones that we have on our shelf that we have not yet reviewed. And we're mostly going through the Japanese ones now because we've kind of had a little bit of what's the word? I don't know. It would just spontaneously just felt like Japanese, and we've got some. We've got ones that we literally started our journey into whiskey from, which is the Yamazaki and the Hakushu.
Plus, they take up like the majority of the bottom shelf, so might as well.
Yeah, there's a bit
put
of
a review out
half
as well.
decent section of Japanese ones. Yeah, so basically, this one is Suntory, obviously. Suntory, the first Japanese whiskey company. The Yamazaki was the first ever distillery in Japan, and I believe that this is either the second or one of the very early ones. So it's a sister distillery to the Yamazaki one. So this one, the Hakushu Distillery, is located in a small town in Japan called Toribara. Probably getting the pronunciation wrong, and that's on a mountain that I'm not even going to bother attempting to pronounce because it's like, much more difficult. So basically this is 100% barley mash bill, malted barley, 43% like the Yamazaki, and as you can see from the bottle, much more. Well, it's all green, and that kind of is representative of the like stunning location that the distillery is in. It's all kind of like foresty and green. It's also much more earthy in the flavors of the whiskey itself. Even a little bit peaty, smoky. So we'll get into the notes for this one.
I mean, as you said, it's like undergrowth almost. It's like a wet rainforest. That's what I always think about.
100%. And the first time I had it, it was good, but like wasn't blown away. And then the second time, we both had this like unicorn experience from it that was just insanely unique and beautiful. Just this like earthy, peaty kind of experience. But like ever since, we've not really gotten
anywhere
that again. Like we've gotten notes, but like the actual like that experience has been it's eluded us a little bit since then. But hopefully now that it's been like a while since we've had it, we can kind of come in and taste those notes a bit more, of a fresh mind, I guess.
There's definitely tropical fruits in this.
There's definitely for me. I get lots of green fruits. I get like green apples and and kind of like not green.
I'm not like a
per se, but like
almost.
I was about to say like kind of like light white-ish fruits, like peach. Like a light, like nectarine, peach, pear, like you said. And there's so many. There's like nice, really earthy, malty undergrowth notes, and it's like not the same.
There's sweetness in there as well, though. It's not.
There
is dirty, grimy.
Again, like that kind of floral sweetness that we said with the Yamazaki. It's a very common note that we found with Japanese whiskey. That kind of like floral sweetness. It's like the white wine light kind of fruit notes. So the barrels used in this, like they used a few barrels, but not in the kind of percentage, the extent to the percentage they use like with the Yamazaki. If you want to look into that one, just watch the video we previously uploaded, link it. This one is more, it's a little bit less exotic. It's so primarily it is ex-bourbon and hogsheads, which hogsheads, if you're not sure what they are, they're kind of like reconstructed bourbon barrels, but they're made a little bit bigger as well. They hold like 230 liters, I think, or something. They hold a lot. So, but they also do use some sherry and stuff like that. Some new oak barrels, white oak, obviously. So there's a lot of different stuff, but you can kind of get that more fresh, less deep, dark sweetness. No, it's like the deep, dark fruits, like from the red wine, French red wine barrels, and the sherry, and in the Yamazaki. This is all a bit more deep earthy and less sweet and less kind of that sherry note, the sherry kind of impact is much lighter in this. Like
it's not even noticeable,
but it's like not what you would think of if you thought of sherry fruits.
Yeah,
it's not like that. It's more light fruits. It's not dark raisins or anything like that. The taste though, malty, sweet.
It's so different from the Yamazaki.
It is very different. Yeah. It's just this is so like, what's the word? I always forget the word. You know, like vegetation. It's vegetal. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Is that a word? Vegetal. I think that's it. It's really vegetal. It's really like, I don't know how to describe it. Like
it's like earthy and like
grassy,
earthy. It is like it's like a wet rainforest. Like it is literally like tasting.
Have a Google up the Hakushu Distillery and just imagine that it's been raining there, and that's kind of like what is 50% of the smell, and you get all that malt, the barley and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of light fruits. I really like that with that touch of peat because they use a mixture of peated and unpeated malted barley in it. They say it's highly peated, the small amount that they do use, 25 ppm, which is not that high. It's fine. It's like well, it's like average, I think. But it's, as we've said before, ppm really means nothing because when the taste of smoke is not just dependent on the ppm, which is peat parts per million. It's dependent on like what part of the distilling process you choose to include in your whiskey. So the start, the heads and the tails might taste completely different in regards to peat, so it's not really relevant. But either way, you can get the kind of smokiness in here, and with the earthy, fruity notes, it's super unique.
Obviously, this wouldn't be like a flavor that they were trying to get, but I'm getting like an Australian wattle. You know that kind of pollen you get.
I was gonna say pine for me. I'm getting like pine notes.
I get what you mean. Both the nose and palate now.
Maybe that's kind of like the floral notes. You're getting, you're associating it with like sweet Australian flowers. But like for other people, just probably to be dependent on what sweet kind of flowers are around them. Because like the Yamazaki, I definitely got the cherry blossom kind of thing.
For sure.
Whereas this is more, it is a bit more like
herbaceous.
Herbal. It's a bit more herbaceous, definitely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a bit greener. Everything about this is just a bit greener. What would you reckon? Like after tasting the Yamazaki and now the Hakushu back to back,
like what fresh now. I personally like the Hakushu better. I think I've got part. That's probably why I didn't like it in the beginning. I just wasn't used to those
smoky,
earthy, like the really green notes. Whereas now I appreciate them a lot more because they're more complex for me. Like I would rather that in a whiskey.
You weren't like used to the more savoury kind of notes. Well, I mean, now we're like super into that.
When we're
actually in saying that, there is like a saltiness to this on that savoury note. There is a saltiness that kind of I noticed but didn't put my finger on.
But we were drinking like Space Eyes when we were drinking these whiskeys.
Yeah, but I feel like those are more fruity than
savory. That's why we probably preferred the Yamazaki. Yeah. I would imagine it's the same issue with the Yamazaki in terms of price now as well. Because this was already more expensive than the Yamazaki when we first got it. I think it was like $10-15 more expensive. Yamazaki's now...
It was like $5 less, the Hakushu.
Oh, was it? Was it the other way around?
I'm going to do a quick Google now just to see.
I did. I said Yamazaki was 160 to 170 in the last video. I did Google after it just to double check. It was 165.
God
the Yamazaki.
Damn, it's higher.
Yeah. So the Hakushu would be like 150.
150. Yeah. So Dan Murphy's 145, 148. Yeah. Currently 148. The price when we first initially bought our first bottle of it, it was sitting around the 110, 115.
120. Yeah.
Then I saw it around the 125, 130 mark, and now it's at the 145, 150, and I've seen it for 160 and stuff. Mm-hmm. So yes, it has gone up a lot. I'm not sure if that's what's kind of, I don't know if internationally that's the same trend. I assume it is just because of what's going on with Japanese whiskey, but also Australia is kind of like all over the shop with prices regardless. So, and because it's not an age statement, it shouldn't be subject to the kind of ups and downs of the market as much, but whatever. So we'll run this one out if you're done. Alrighty. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Reviewing Whiskey. If you liked it, leave us a like and see future episodes from us. Maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. If you do, see you next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.